told us that there is no water and no money for capital investments for the water supply for the San Fernando 4PH project. So sana kahit double check lang ulit ng DSUD na real time yung sinabi nila kanina na may tubig na dun sa service area na yon, Mr. Chair.
Referring, Mr. President, Senator Risa, to the Crystal Peak Estates, San Fernando, Pampanga.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, according to Social Housing Finance, nag-move in na itong mga families and they validated na meron pong tubig na doon sa area na yon, doon sa community na yon.
Alright, salamat po para doon, Mr. Chair. That things have indeed improved within a quarter of a year since. Okay po, Mr. Chair, dako na po ako sa utilizing escrow funds para sa resiliency at para sa building code reform. So the DSUD has the mandate to utilize the balanced housing escrow funds to support socialized housing. However, CMP loan funds cannot be effectively used for strengthening existing houses without a technical framework. So meron po bang inherent power, Mr. Chair, ang DSUD para agad pamunuan nila ang pag-develop ng isang annex to the National Building Code IRRs, specifically po para sa mga CMP sites, Mr. Chair?
Mr. President, Senator Risa, they relaunched the CMP to what they call the eCMP, the Enhanced CMP, Community Mortgage Program. And the community can borrow to address, they can borrow to implement resiliency programs in their community. So for example, nasa typhoon belt sila, right? Let's say Region 5 or Region 8, they can borrow, the community can borrow so that they can make their houses resilient to typhoons. They can retrofit their houses. So yung mga windows ho, pwede nilang lagyan ng protection so that the community is resilient to typhoons. So meron na silang ganitong programa po.
Okay, salamat, Mr. Chair. So hindi na, tingin ng DSUD, hindi na ba nila kailangang magdagdag ng annex sa IRRs ng National Building Code para dun sa CMP sites?
Mr. President, admittedly, the building code needs to be updated talaga.
Actually, Mr. Chair, yung code mismo, hindi lang yung IRRs ng code.
Yeah,
Opo.
talagang kailangan i-update because it's not attuned to the times anymore. Walang any conversation there on resiliency, on mitigation, even on energy efficiency, wala hong ganun. So there's now a move in the House of Representatives to update the building code. They call it the National Building Act. And DSUD is participating there constantly, Mr. President, so they can share their views on how the building code should be updated.
Okay. Including in terms of the CMP sites, Mr. Chair?
Yes, Mr. President. So kasali na ho doon. Admittedly, marami, like for example, in energy efficiency, wala hong ganun na parte sa building code. So, and I saw yesterday that the President inaugurated a solar rooftop project in a socialized housing project. No, let's call it, I think, Ning Ning, the project. So it's actually quite a innovative project because nasa socialized housing facility siya. Normally, it's the houses in Forbes or houses in luxury enclaves na meron pong solar. Pero ito, socialized housing po. Row houses, nakita ko. No? So, those are the things na wala ho sa building code that should be taken consideration.
I agree, Mr. Chair. And it actually makes sense na hindi lang sa socialized housing areas din, pero particularly sa socialized housing areas where ang layunin ay affordable quality housing na powered ito ng renewable energy na alam po natin sa atin ng mga advocacy sa energy democracy na kalaunan mas mura ang kuryente na generated ng renewable energies. So, dahil meron ng umaandar na proseso sa House of Representatives and I look forward na makapag-counterpart tayo sa Senado sa ganito, National Building Code Bill, hindi ko na kailangan itanong kung pwedeng magbigay ng timeline ang DSUD sa pag-develop ng annex sa National Building Code IRRs, specifically for CMP sites. Iwan ko na lang itong suggestion din na dun sa pag-participate nila sa House of Representatives process and eventually harinawa dito sa Senado, na isama po nila yung mga simplified standards for incremental development and for the development of a grassroots organizational approach for the technical capacity, for the structural vetting of self-built homes that need to be transformed into resilient assets, Mr. Chair. And huli na lang sa paksang ito, bukod pa sa mga ganito, yung update ng National Building Code para sa CMP areas, ano pa po ang pwede nating gawin para maghanda para sa the big one na ayon kay DOST Secretary Solidum naman ay maaring magresulta sa tens of thousands ng mga pamilya natin na mailibing sa ilalim ng rubble, Mr. Chair.
Mr. President, DSUD is very conscious of the areas that are called no-build zones. So ito yung mga malalapit sa fault areas. At talagang very strict sila, hindi ho nila pinapayagan magpatayo doon. Sa waterways, kung in area ay flood-prone area, hindi rin nila pinapayagan ho yun. So they're very conscious of that. Very strict ho yung policy on building in areas that are considered no-build zones. And at the same time, we mentioned kanina na meron ECMP, ang Pag-ibig meron rin pong facility for home improvement. So, for example, if the community or the homeowner, individual na, no? The homeowner would like to retrofit their houses, pwede silang mag-loan. No? Kung tingin nila luma na or sabi ng engineer ay hindi siya adequate to resist or to withstand earthquakes, pwede sila mag-loan.
Okay, salamat Mr. Chair. Bago ko iwan itong paksa, isang note lang, no? Yung Philippine Building Code ay para sa bahay na tinatayo from the ground up. So, bagong construction. I'm guessing baka ganun din ang perspective ng House Bill sa National Building Code. Samantala, yung existing self-built houses, ito yung mga nasa CMP sites. So yung practical question po ay, ngayong papautangin sila, yung mga informal settlers natin, yung mga nasa CMP sites, ngayong papautangin sila ng SHAFC para sa house improvement, paano nga tutulungan ng SHAFC itong mga tao na nasa CMP na i-improve yung mga bahay nila incrementally? Bago pa man magkaroon ng bagong batas, kaya ako naitanong kanina yung pwede bang magkaroon ng annex sa IRRs ng kasalukuyang National Building Code. So para sa kalaunan ay maging compliant pati itong mga CMP households sa building code, Mr. Chair.
In ang NHA po very strict when it comes to addressing resiliency. So yung kanilang mga units are certified by engineers and compliant with the building code. Doon po sa mga CMP na housing, they coordinate with the LGU in terms of the structural aspects of the houses. But ang recommendation ko nga ho sa SIAPSI, magkaroon po ng parang technical assistance doon po sa mga communities. No? For example, they can do some inspection at sabihin sa community na itong bahay niyo kailangan i-retrofit natin para mas safe. Lalo na ang SIAPSI ngayon nakita ko is multi-level na no? So vertical. No? So I suggested to them to come up with parang technical assistance to the homeowners. No? So, but ngayon, it's just coordination with the LGUs insofar as the housing or the compliance to the building code.
Na-appreciate ko, Mr. Chair, na on the same page ang Chair, ang DSUD at Key Shelter Agencies at itong representasyon in terms of yung concern para dun sa mga CMP families. Siguro yung tanong ay mas yung coverage nung applicable law. Kasi malamang a long time ago, nung unang binuo yung National Building Code, hindi pa nakakontemplate ang isang programa tulad ng CMP. And ngayong meron ng National Building Code bill sa House, hindi ko pa rin sigurado kung kasama yung CMP. Dahil nga, kumbaga, nasa ibang stage of development yung mga bahay ng mga CMP. Hindi sila i-build from the ground up pero i-improve. So, baka pala yung unang tanong ko ay relevant pa rin. Kahit dun sa pag-participate ng SHAFC sa National Building Code Bill deliberation sa House, baka ngayon pa lang pwede na nilang i-consider, magbungkahi na magkaroon ng annex or hiwalay ba na provision sa loob ng bagong National Building Code o annex sa IRRs or at annex sa IRRs once ito ay mailabas, Mr. Chair.
The DSUD family is here and some of them I've worked with them when I was a mayor. Si GM Laksa ho, nung mayor ako, nandyan na yan, hanggang ngayon nandyan pa rin. No? So, expert to sa housing. So, they're listening right now and they will take your suggestions very seriously in terms of addressing resiliency, retrofitting houses, and also going beyond the standards of the building code. Kasi building code parang minimum yan eh. And then you can actually build more than what the building code requires. So they'll take your suggestions very seriously.
Salamat, Mr. Chair. And additionally, making sure na kung sa lumang batas hindi reflected yung mga homeowners tulad sa CMP areas, sa bagong batas, marereflect na sila.
Correct.
At sa IRRs ng bagong batas, marereflect na rin po sila.
Tama po. That's why yung new building code, I'm very happy to hear that nag-umpisa na rin in discussion. And I welcome the updating of the building code when it comes here so we can look at or suggest new concepts in the new building code.
Salamat, Mr. Chair. Muli, pagtutulungan namin yan ng Chair at ng representasyong ito. And then just as a last note para sa DSUD, sa paksang ito, that LGUs should have a DSUD vetted engineering extension service. So, something for possibly DSUD, kung tingin niya mabuting ideya to bring up with the DILG, and then tayo rin, baka pwede natin, Mr. Chair, itanong sa mga local government units kung tingin nila mabuting ideya ito na magkaroon sila ng engineering extension service na DSUD vetted para po sa mga constituents nila na mga informal settlers and eventually mga CMPs, area residents din.
Actually, some LGUs are very proactive. They have, by ordinance, they put up their own housing office, especially to address the shelter needs of their constituents, especially from the informal sector. Kami po sa Valenzuela, for many years, meron na kaming a mini DSUD. No? We call it Office of the ano bang tawag? Office, parang housing office and resettlement office, no? Something to that effect. Na we work very closely with SHAPSI, with DSUD, with NHA on our shelter needs. No? Pero ang office na yon, siya talaga yung point person namin kung meron pong requirements on shelter. Even adjudication, kasi mga homeowners madalas nag-aaway yan on the ground. So para hindi na umakyat dito sa HLURB or sa DSUD, local government na nag-address. So I was advised that here in Metro Manila, half of our local governments have some form of housing office. Baka magandang, maybe we can come up with a law that if you have a significant number of informal settlers, pwede silang maggumawa ng housing office, no, to coordinate with DSUD.
I agree, Mr. Chair. At kung kalahati na pala ng LGUs dito sa Metro Manila ay may ganitong katulad ng sa Valenzuela na Housing and Resettlement Office, baka pwedeng tumulong ang MMDA i-echo yung ganitong modelo, ganitong best practice sa iba pang LGUs dito sa Metropolis na yun na nga, gaya ng sinabi ng Chair, may significant informal settler population. And with the help of DILG, kahit po sa buong bansa. So again, something for DSUD to consider bringing up with those other government agencies, Mr. Chair. So, dako na po ako sa NHA, charter mandates at convergence plan. So, particular, kaugnay din ng partnership implementation. So, the NHA's new charter, Sorry, Mr. Chair. NHA's new charter mandates an important shift in its role. Ano po yung current progress at ano po yung 2026 work and financial plan para sa land assembly program sa palibot po ng mga upcoming train stations mula sa Clark hanggang sa Calamba? I ask this, Mr. Chair, because this would ensure that resettlers from danger zones and government infrastructure sites, mga naitanong ko rin kanina, are not resettled at the foot of the Sierra Madre, halimbawa, and that they retain unimpeded access to work by riding the DOTR trains, Mr. Chair. So, yung current progress na po at yung work and financial plan.
So, from the, I thank the NHA for the update. Meron ho ang NHA and DOTR isang MOA to implement the housing needs of the mga tatamaan po ng right-of-way. Particularly the PNR North 2 project, North-South Commuter Railway project, Metro Manila Subway project, and South Long Haul project. No? So in other words, hindi po pababayaan ng NHA itong mga pamilyang ito na tatamaan po ng right-of-way. And ang kagandahan, sabi ho sa akin ng NHA, mga in-city ho ang kanilang paglilipatan. So hindi sila dadalhin sa malayong lugar na walang eskwelahan. Or the worst is they call it next city, no? Yung next LGU or adjacent LGU, no? Yan ho talaga ang actually resistance ng mga relocatees, yung i-relocate ho sila sa napakalayong lugar, walang eskwelahan, walang transportation, walang trabaho. Nandoon ho sila sa lugar dahil may trabaho in the first place, no? But if you will relocate them, madi-displace ho sila. So the NHA the NHA's target is to do in-city relocation. The worst is the next city or the next municipality.
Salamat, Mr. Chair. Naku, sasabihin ko pa naman sana, implementation plan please, wag ng memorandum of agreement lang na naman. But sige, I'll step back a bit to that. Actually po, kahit nga hindi in-city, kung next city, kung adjacent man, baka may advantage kung kailangang mag-relocate, ma-relocate nga dun sa palibot ng mga upcoming train station. So, meron na po bang work and financial plan para sa land assembly program na yon? At ano pong progress nito, Mr. Chair?
Mr. President, actually it's the DOTR ang humihingi ho sa kanila ng relocation site. So the Division of Labor is pag meron pong expropriation or right-of-way alignment, NHA, at my family doon sa alignment, it's the NHA that takes care of the looking for the property kung saan pwedeng lipatan at sila na rin po nagpapatayo. At maganda pong balita, talagang in-city po yung kanilang practice. Kasi I remember mga past relocation, dinadala sa malalayo eh. No? Kaya yung mga pamilya bumabalik po doon sa original areas nila. So these are all ongoing projects. No? So even though memorandum of agreement, but it's really a more substantive arrangement between DOTR and NHA. Mayroon ho talagang, nakita ko dito sa update, meron na pong mga physical work na ginagawa po ang NHA. So we can submit to Her Honor an update
please,
on
Mr.
this transit-oriented development.
Salamat.
Tawag nila ho, TOD, transit-oriented development.
Matagal na pong magandang advocacy ng lumang NEDA, ngayon DepDev, at interagency po talaga ang magpapatupad niyan. And in fact, Mr. Chair, hindi kailangan hingin ng DOTR sa NHA ang lahat ng relocation sites. Alam na po ng DOTR na sa ilalim ng Transit-Oriented Development Strategy na iyan, yun nga mismong mga lupa sa palibot ng mga train stations nila mula Clark at Calamba ay pwede at dapat isama bilang relocation sites. Kasi at least, kunyari, nilipat mula sa danger zone, tabing ilog, hindi naman itatapon, ililipat sa paanan ng Sierra Madre. At the same time, dahil nandun sa mga lupa, sa palibot ng train stations, may easy access sila sa tren at makakasakay sila papunta at pauwi sa trabaho or sa eskwelahan. So, just a reminder to DSUD na they can also ask the OTR to be more forthcoming and proactively, kung hindi pa man naisama sa Work and Financial Plan for 2026, isama yung mga lupa na i-identify nila sa land assembly program dun sa palibot ng mga train stations. And yung MOA po na meron sa ngayon, but I'm hoping nga na mas substantive ito gaya ng sinabi ng Chair. Kasama din po ba yung DPWH, Mr. Chair?
Mr. President, I was si NHA GM is here. Apparently, because it's a DOTR project, so sila yung nagpo-provide ng housing funds to NHA for the relocation of those affected families. So, ang source ng funds ay galing po sa DOTR. No? So, yun po yung kanilang partnership. So, aside from the physical division, it's also the funding division. Yeah.
And of course, I can imagine, very well appreciated po yan ng DSUD on the part of DOTR at tayo rin ng mga housing advocates. We certainly are glad na ginagastos yung pondo in that way. Ang akin lang po ay paalala, maybe as much for DOTR as for DSUD, na meron pong land assembly program sa ilalim ng transit-oriented development na dun sa palibot ng mga train stations nila. Huwag po nilang kakalimutan yung mga kailangang i-resettle na isa sa mga priority sectors din for resettlement doon po. At yung MOA po, Mr. Chair, kasama din po ba yung DPWH, yung NHA DOTR MOA?
Hindi po kasama. It's only
Hindi
DOTR
kasama.
lang.
Okay, maybe that's
These
something
are
to
for
look into.
DOTR projects.
Okay po. Baka that's something to look into po moving forward, Mr. Chair. So huli po sa NHA updates, meron na po bang IRR para sa mandated NHA loan condonation? At meron na po bang LGU NHA partnership framework na dinedevelop sa settlement site upgrading tulad ng kinocontemplate po ng bagong charter ng NHA, Mr. Chair?
Kasi when I was a mayor kasi very active ho kami sa housing and shelter in Valenzuela, kaya I can sympathize with NHA. Sabi ko, very challenging ho talaga ang housing and shelter, lalo na sa urban areas. So meron ho silang condonation program and meron na silang 7 na condonation program. And ang nag-apply na po ay 35,000 out of the 156 potential availees. So yun po yung nag-apply. And the condoned amounts is about 562 million. So malaki-laki rin po.
At may IRRs na siguro po itong loan condonation ng NHA.
Yes. Yeah, meron na po.
Okay. Salamat, Mr. Chair.
Sorry, Mr. President.
Yes,
Apparently, wala ng IRR because it's embedded in their charter na raw. No? So it's self-executory yung condonation. That's the way I understand it.
I see.
But they're implementing it. There's already meron na pong 7 condonation programs, no? Amounting to 562 million pesos.
Okay po, sir. So, NHA has an existing loan condonation program. Pero, konti lang ng mga eligible ang sumali so far. Bakit
Yes,
po kaya,
konti lang
Mr.
nga.
Chair?
But,
Opo,
this is,
parang 20% lang ba
This is
eligible?
20%?
Opo.
20%.
Bakit kaya? I mean, sinong hindi gugustuhin na makondo ng utang? So,
secondary.
may problema po ba? May limitasyon ba? How can we improve it, Mr. Chair?
Kasi maraming bagyo. Actually, since July hanggang ngayon, walang bayad na.
Well, ang sagot po sa akin, because of the typhoon, because of the effects of typhoon, so I think hindi ho lang naasikaso. Maybe the NHA could also endeavor more information campaign. Baka hindi rin alam ng tao, no? That's the first thing also I saw, parang ang baba, 20% only applied. But this is a good program dahil
Yes.
matatanggal po yung kanilang utang.
Opo.
So we should, I suggest to NHA to do more information campaign para malaman po ng tao.
Opo. And in fact, itong loan condonation program ng NHA na isinabatas din po natin dito, it mirrors yung loan condonation ng mga agrarian reform beneficiaries sa
correct.
kanayunan naman. So, talagang mapapaisip ka, sinong hindi gugustuhin na, kumbaga, ma-forgive yung debt niya? Kung effects ng typhoon, of course, at the same time, pagkatapos ng disaster, pag nasa rebuilding stage tayo, syempre, lalong pampagaan sa loob kapag, may utang ako na mako-condone. So, I support the suggestion of the chair na mas proactive na information campaign para tumaas po yung uptake sa programang ito.
Meron kasi akong na-experience in Valenzuela when I was a mayor. I was telling the secretary and the GM of NHA, kung nagbebenta po ng rights, uso ho yan sa mga urban areas. So, may mga secondary owners na or secondary beneficiaries. And hindi nila pinapayagan mag-condone yung mga
Yes.
secondary. No? So,
Opo, Mr. Chair.
maybe that's a different program.
Opo.
No? Kasi ang mura lang kasi in NHA housing, maganda pa yung location. So the original beneficiaries normally na bebenta ho nila yung, they call it rights. No?
Right.
At in secondary beneficiary, hindi naman papayagan ng NHA to condone. Pero
Opo.
sila na yung physically nandun sa area. So maybe, I think I suggested to NHA to look at that angle also.
Yes. And in fact, Mr. Chair, narinig ko na rin po yun sa mga beneficiaries, potential beneficiaries nitong loan condonation program. Alam nila yung ganyang sitwasyon, alam nila yung ganyang programa. At sila mismo, they are very willing to work with the NHA to make sure na yung magbebenepisyo lang ay yung mga karapat-dapat lang, hindi yung nabentahan lang ng rights. And kaya rin, siguro, because of these issues, Mr. Chair, kaya nga, baka kailangan ng bagong IRR para sa loan condonation program.
Meron kasi, I was telling si GM Laksa na may experience kami sa Valenzuela. Actually, hindi ko na masyado na-update. Nakalahati na po nung community is secondary, I call it secondary beneficiaries.
Opo.
No? So, but hindi ho sila rin recognize ng SHAPC. But sila na nakatira doon and willing naman sila magbayad. So, I think they should, they call it substitution. No? They should address that issue also. NHA
Yes,
should
Mr.
also address that dahil willing naman po magbayad yung pangalawang lumipat.
Opo.
Yeah.
So baka hindi sila pasok sa loan condonation program,
Yes.
baka ibang program.
Ibang program.
Opo,
Oo.
na maaring didisenyo pa ng key shelter agencies natin. And again, that's why baka kailangan ng bagong IRRs para to take cognizance of kung paano nag-evolve yung situation on the ground at yung participation ng mga beneficiaries sa iba't ibang programa natin, Mr.
The
Chair.
NHA will be looking at that also.
Salamat po
Thank
para
you,
doon,
Senator
Mr.
Risa.
Chair. And lastly, tungkol sa paksang ito, kanina doon sa transit-oriented development, we're talking not just about the resettlement of affected persons, bagamat syempre kasama po yun, we're talking about urban development around the stations, otherwise known as, kaya nga po, transit-oriented development. Na doon, yung mga informal settlers, hindi lang po sila beneficiaries, sila po'y mamumuhunan din. Mag-i-input din sila sa development process around the train stations. So, dako na po ako, Mr. Chair, sa walang kamatayang NLEX Segment 8.2 conflict, yung forced relocation at internal audit. Aware po si Sec. Aliling sa serious situation kung saan daang-daang mga pamilya ay apektado ng NLEX Segment 8.2 extension na iniuulat ay pinipressure daw ng NHA, pinipressure daw ng DPWH na lumipat sa mga off-city sites na kontra po sa in-city housing plan ng Quezon City. Itanong ko pala muna, Mr. Chair, aware po ba ang Good Secretary sa ganitong seryosong sitwasyon?
They're aware. Sorry, Mr. President, for the
Yes, Mr.
delay. I was
Chair.
just getting an update